I'm Dr. Loz. I'm a scientist. I do science. It's my favourite thing. So I'm here to share my science with you guys. Does anyone know what science is? Put your hand up if you know what science is. Call out. You've got 5 seconds to tell me what you think science is. Go. Now, no matter what you said, you definitely got it right because science is in everything. It's absolutely everywhere. I'll tell you what I think science is though. It's asking questions. And that's what a job of scientist is to ask questions every single day, hundreds of questions. You've got to ask so many questions. Your parents say, stop asking questions, you're making me crazy. And you can say, nah, I'm a scientist. It's my job to ask questions. And grown-ups, you can say, I don't know to every single question. That's totally fine. I say, I don't know 100 times a day. But make sure when you say, I don't know, you say, I don't know, let's find out. I don't know, let's discover. I don't know, let's explore. I don't know, how can we test that? And go and do some active exploration and investigation. All right, here it is, everybody. Today's supersonic science sound. Put your supersonic science ears on, touch your ears, and let's listen and see if you can work out what our science sound is for today. Can you guess what it is? We'll be back later to give you the answer. See if you can guess. If you're following on and doing some experimenting at home at the same time as us, here's our materials checklist that you'll need to get experimenting. Alright, it's time for today's mystery microscope image. Can you guess what it is? We've looked at something under a microscope and this is what it looks like. I'll give you some time to see if you can work out what you think this is. All right, we'll be back soon and we'll let you know what our mystery microscope image is. Today we're exploring simple machines with a focus on a lever. The job of a simple machine is to make it easier for us. And there are lots of different types of simple machines. There's pulleys, there's wedges, there's inclined planes, there's screws, there's levers, and wheels and axles. And they are simple machines, and the job of a simple machine is to make it easier for us. So we have to use less effort. Today we're going to focus on levers, which is one of the simple machines. If you watch at the end, there's a little bit about each of the other simple machines so that you can learn what they are and how they help. A lever is basically a flat beam that has a pivot point, somewhere that it spins on or it rotates on, it pivots on. It's called a fulcrum. Can you say fulcrum? And a seesaw is an example of a lever, but your arms, your elbows, all of your joints are examples of levers. So there's a point where they pivot, open and close, they move around, and that's your lever. There's a really fun little toy that we can make that's made with a lever. It's a catapult. We're going to make one of those today. A traditional catapult has a pivot point or a fulcrum in the middle, and a weight pulls down one end quickly, and that launches up or pushes up the other end quickly, and the other end has the load on it. We're going to make a modified version, so instead of pushing down to launch the load on our catapult, we're going to tie the end down and use elastic energy to propel our load forward. Remember, a simple machine is a thing that we use to make it easier for us to do the work. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our wedge. This one's from Bunnings, a couple of bucks, and it's a door wedge. And we're going to get some paddle pop sticks, some wider ones and some skinnier ones. They don't have to be coloured, I just like coloured ones. So you're going to get 2 wider ones and an elastic band and wind it round the bottom, like that. And then in between, you're going to put 6 skinny paddle pop sticks. And you just open it up like a crocodile mouth, slide it in. And then what you're going to do is we're going to try and wedge that there in that spot. So if you take an elastic band and you put it over, then twist, try not to let it move, and over and twist, and over and twist, over and twist, all the way around until it stays in one place. And you can see it makes a little kind of crisscross across the middle. Doesn't matter how it goes, just as long as it stays. And then these bits should be a little bit flexible and want to spring back. If you have a look at my catapult, this bit here, this is our pivot point. So it acts just like a seesaw. And with our catapult, what we're going to do is we're going to tie one end down. So the pivot point, the fulcrum, is still there, but we're introducing elastic energy, which is what's going to send it flying. Because when we tie one end down, it has to flex or stretch in order for us to push it down, which means as soon as you let it go, it's going to launch its potential elastic energy. We've talked about that with our pom-pom poppers, and we'll revisit again with some other stuff. And then we attach it to our wedge, just using another elastic band. Just wind it around a few times, like that. So one around the bottom. And then to attach this one, we just put an elastic band around there, like that, from a bottle top. And I've got some double-sided stickers. And if you pop one of those onto the bottom of your bottle top, peel it off, stick it on. When you stick it on, make sure you leave some space so that you can push down. So see how I've stuck it there, and then there's a little bit of space at the top. And that means I can use my hand to push down. Time to reveal the answer to our secret sound. What did you think it was? Here it is. Now it's time to go next level. Find a place you can be a bit messy, get some paper stuck up on a wall or on an easel, and dip your pom-poms in food colouring. time to work out what our mystery microscope image was. Could you guess? Let's see. This is what it was today. Did you guess? We'll have another one coming up in the next episode.
If you don't have any paddle wop sticks and a wedge, don't fear, you can just use a ruler and a bottle top and some tape and then attach it to something like a cardboard box.
Whoa! Next one. This is just a ruler with a lid stuck, taped to a box. Launch! Whoa!
While you're playing with your catapult, investigate what happens if you put in more force, if you push down further, or if you just push down a little bit. What kind of force do you get out? How much energy do you get out? Does the pom-pom travel further if you push down harder? Does it go higher? So you can control how much you put in to see how much you get out and investigate forces that way too. What about if you change the angle of your ruler or of your lever? If it's flat versus if it's standing quite perpendicular, or if it's just on an incline like we used with our wedge.
Okay, safety glasses on. Check. Let me get the catapult. Open your mouth. Here is our catapult. Here is our marshmallow. In front of you are our catches. Are you ready? I need my safety glasses. I don't want a marshmallow in the eye. Let me borrow your glasses. Okay, keep going until I get one in. If I get one in, you guys can eat one more.
Yeah. Can I throw one?
Gently.
Do it.
My mama said it's time to go to bed 'cause the lights are on in the street. Do the chicken walk. Yeah, the chicken walk.
Now the coolest thing about our catapult simple machine is that we are making it much less work for ourselves to send something flying really far. So imagine if we're just going to use our index finger. That's all we're going to use to make something move. If we just had a pom-pom and I said to you, just using your little finger, see how far you can make that pom-pom fly. Not very far. It doesn't go very far just using your one finger. But if we use this, which has got a simple machine, it's also got some special energy. Remember before how I said things with elastic bands and stretchiness, things that fling back, they've got potential energy. So if we put a pom-pom in here and we just use our little finger, bend it back, whoa, it goes flying. So we've been able to do much more work, or we've made the work easier for us to get a better result, for it to go further.
What does a rain cloud wear under its clothes? Underwear.
Do you remember when we talked about energy transfer in episode 2 with the pom-pom poppers. We're going to talk about that again for a second here.
With our catapults, what we can do is we can transfer our energy. Again, it's the chemical energy in our bodies from our food moving our little finger. Kinetic energy. Everyone say kinetic energy. Kinetic energy. Right. So I'm going to put my pom-pom in here. The energy, chemical energy from my food is going to help me turn into kinetic energy into my finger. And when I move my finger, I'm transferring my kinetic energy into my catapult. Now my catapult has kinetic energy because I've moved it. And while it's stretched like that, it's got potential energy. And as soon as I let it go, that potential energy is going to turn back into kinetic energy and send my pom-pom flying through the air. 3, 2, 1. So we do this, we make a couple and we sit a couple of meters away from each other, me and my kids. Whoa! And we send pom-poms flying to each other. And we have to work out how much force you put in, how much energy, and how much energy we want to come out. If the person is just really close, you only need to put a little bit of force in and just go a little bit far. If the person is right over the other side of the room, you need to push down really far and put lots of energy in so that you get lots of energy back out. And that's how energy gets transferred. So you can make one of these just for a couple of dollars. And they're so much fun. We play with them all the time. Remember, science is everywhere. It's in everything. And it's so, so awesome. Yeah, science rules. Woo!
Here's a little bit more info on some of the other simple machines. A wedge is a simple machine, and what a wedge does is it splits something apart.
And it has a fatter end at one end and a skinnier end at the other. And the job of a wedge is to push something apart. So the most common wedge that we use is a knife. When you use a knife and you cut something, if you look really closely, there's a sharper edge and a wider edge. And that sharper edge pushes something apart. It cuts it, it splits it. So a knife's actually a wedge. It's a simple machine that we use every day to do things that we need to cut stuff up.
Same with an axe. When you split wood, when you use a needle to sew, you're pushing apart the material to fit through. Scissors, they've got anything that has a pointy edge is classified as a wedge.
Another example of a wedge is your teeth. They're pointy at one end and wider at the back, and their job is to cut. So when teeth push down, they split things open. That's what wedges do, like with a knife. You push it down and it splits something open.
So your teeth are a wedge. You use them every single day to chop food, to break it up, to split it apart. A wedge splits something apart. It breaks it up. An inclined plane is any kind of slope or ramp that makes it easier to lift something up.
Stairs, anything that has a slope like that. If we were to try and lift something from here to here, if this is a staircase, something from here to here, it's probably really hard and really high, whereas we use an inclined plane to get it up bit by bit. So we're moving the heavy object over a greater distance, but we're doing little bits, little steps, and we can minimize the amount we need each time. So that's why an inclined plane is a simple machine. It helps us to do work.
We can use an incline like a ramp to just take little steps, and it makes that distance, that big gap, much, much smaller. Ladders are an incline. On the back of trucks, to get a big heavy car from the road up onto a tow truck, you can't lift it up, can you? That's really hard because it's so heavy. If we use an incline, a ramp, we can push the car up. Even though the car's really heavy, we can get it up because the ramp, the incline, helps us to do that. A screw is also a simple machine. A screw is just an incline that's wrapped around in a spiral. So an example of a screw is a lid on a jar or a plastic bottle or on anything. A wheel and axle is used to carry loads, big heavy things like cars or even someone on a bike. Around easy for a long distance with less effort. The wheels spin around, it moves freely. Pulley uses wheels and a rope to raise something or lower something or move a load around. With less effort, we have to do less work to make something move. The loads that cranes lift are hugely heavy, and they use a pulley to enable them to lift up really, really, really heavy things.
Okay, just before you go, here's a quick summary of some of the supersonic science words that we learned today. So today we used our catapults to make a pom-pom go flying in the air. We transferred energy. This is exactly the same as what you do when you go out and you play sport. When you kick a ball, you're using the chemical energy in your body and it's transferring into kinetic energy to make your legs move. And then when you kick that ball, the kinetic energy is transferring into the ball and it sends the ball flying. Same when you throw something. Chemical energy in your body transfers into kinetic energy to make your arm move. And then as you let it go, the ball has kinetic energy and it goes flying. It goes up, 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 and then it eventually comes back down. What's pulling it to the ground? Does anyone know what that force is that pulls stuff to the ground? Call out if you know what it is. Yeah, that's right, it's gravity. It pulls everything to the ground. Everybody stand up, make sure you're standing up. And what we're going to do is see how gravity works. Jump up as high as you can. Oh, I came back down. Did anybody stay in the air? No, because gravity is a force and it's a pull. Remember, forces are pushes or pulls, and gravity is pulling you back down to the ground. It pulls everything to the ground.